How's it, everyone? Welcome back to another string comparison review right here on OpenCourt. I'm Kent, and today I'm pitting two strings against each other to see which one comes out on top. These are two of my favorite polyester strings currently on the market, and some of you guys have actually requested this head-to-head comparison. So today I finally got around to trying it, so I'm going to be testing the head Lynx Tour and the Tourna Big Hitter Silver 7 Tour against each other. So those of you who have been watching my channel for quite some time, you guys already know that the head Lynx Tour is currently my favorite polyester string on the market. I love this string primarily because of the crisp feel as well as the ball pocketing, and it does have a decent level of power and pop that I really like. It allows me to stay on the gas, play very aggressively, and it allows me to pretty much hit every single shot in my arsenal from anywhere on the court, including my crafty drop shots and angle volleys and things like that. I love this string, and I've been using it for about 4 or 5 years. Whenever it first came out, I tried it and I loved it. The Big Hitter Silver 7 Tour I tried for the first time last year, and when I released my top 7 strings list at the end of the year last year, Big Hitter Silver 7 Tour took the top spot. This was my #1 favorite new string that I tried for the first time in 2023, and some people requested me to do a head-to-head comparison of these strings because they're very similar. They're both shaped strings, they both grab the ball very well to provide spin, the response is very similar, they're both crisp playing, and that's the main reason why I wanted to try it, and probably why a lot of you guys suggested it, because I'm all about that feel, and these are very, very similar. Alright, so I got the Lynx Tour and the Silver 7 Tour strung up in my 2 head Boom Pros. I actually bought a second boom recently specifically so I can do more of these versus string comparisons, because I want to keep it in the same racket to even out the variables so that I can get a good comparison of the strings. Before, I was using the 2013 Graphene Speed Pros, but those rackets were a pain in the butt to string because of the 1820 patterns, so I just bought a used Boom Pro for about $100, and it's been a good investment so far. So I got the Lynx Tour in this one, and I got the Silver 7 Tour in this one. You guys probably can't tell on the camera, but the Silver 7 Tour has a slightly glossier finish, and the light refracts off a little bit more, primarily because this is a little bit more sharp. The angles are a little bit sharper, so the light reflects off of this a little bit more. This one, the Lynx Tour, the edges are a little bit more rounded off, and this is 6-sided. The Silver 7 Tour is 7-sided. That's some primary differences. So I got both of these in the 125 gauge, and I got them both strung up at 54 pounds in my booms. Alright, so let's get on the court and let's test out these two strings. These are two of my favorite poly strings, so I'm very excited, and I know you guys have been looking forward to this as well. So before we get on the court, be sure to overhead smash that like and subscribe button if you guys like this content to keep the reviews coming. So let's start this versus comparison review with the first category of power. Both the Lynx Tour and Silver 7 Tour are more control-oriented polys on the stiffer side, but due to the better pocketing and dwell time, I would have to say the Lynx Tour has the edge in power. When I strike the ball cleanly, I just feel like the ball comes off with slightly more pace. This could very well all be in my head because of the sound and the solid pop sensation, but when I'm playing with confidence and I see my opponents scrambling around on defense, it's very confidence inspiring, and I felt the Lynx Tour gave me a bit more power. On the serves, I felt the ball sinking in a bit more, and when I hit a clean forehand, I could see the pace even after my ball bounced on the other side of the court. So the Lynx Tour wins the category of power. Next category is spin. Both of these strings are shaped to grab the ball and provide good ball bite, but if we're talking about just pure levels of spin generation, the Silver 7 Tour is able to produce more. I judge spin potential most on my kick serve, and I just saw more mid-air movement from my serve with the Silver 7 Tour. The sharper edges of the Silver 7 Tour grabs the ball much better than the Lynx Tour, and thus provides more ball rotation, but this sometimes came with a downside. Because the Silver 7 Tour grips the ball so well, I would often pull the ball down too much on my serve and dump it into the net. Same when I tried to slice by chopping down on the ball. Although I got much more spin on kick serves and slices with the Silver 7 Tour, I also had to be a bit more disciplined with my strokes. As for topspin, I use a semi-western grip and I swing more in a line, but I do have some natural topspin. I didn't notice too much of a difference on topspin between the two strings, but when I swung more vertically, such as when I wanted to hit a lifting topspin on a ball below my knees, the Silver 7 Tour's edges really gripped and pulled the ball up over the net and back down into the court much better. So in terms of spin generation, it is pretty close, but the Silver 7 Tour wins the spin battle. Next category is control. This sort of goes hand in hand with spin, but just because a string provides more spin, that doesn't necessarily mean it provides more control, because things like launch angle, connected feel to the ball, and precision must be taken into account. I felt good control from both the baseline and net with both of these strings, but one had a bit more control than the other because it had much more predictable launch angles, and I felt more connected to the ball, meaning I could aim for smaller targets and hit every shot in my arsenal. That string is the Lynx Tour. The string has good dwell time, and that allows me to feel really connected to every shot, and that allowed me to accurately hit where I was aiming without having to take off any pace. Some people equate control with a muted and dead feel because they can just swing out without fear of hitting long, and that's fine, but for me, I equate control to a string that allows me to hit with confidence from the baseline and net, and the Lynx Tour does that slightly better. Next category is comfort. Both of these strings are fairly stiff, and if you have tennis elbow, I wouldn't recommend either of these strings. In fact, if you have tennis elbow, just don't use poly. That being said, one of these strings has a bit more give, and that string is the Lynx Tour. The string bed is slightly more flexible, and that also leads to a bit more power. I have a healthy arm, so I'm not the best person to ask about comfort because I like stiff strings, but the Silver 7 Tour plays a bit stiffer, especially at the beginning because it has a break-in, so Lynx Tour is the winner in comfort, although it is still a fairly stiff string. Next category is durability and tension maintenance. I'll be honest, I never play with strings until they break. You shouldn't either because most strings lose tension long before they break. In terms of durability, I would guess that the Silver 7 Tour might be a little more durable because it is stiffer, but the edges are also sharper, so it might saw into the main, so in terms of durability, I think it could be a bit of a tie. But with tension maintenance, the Lynx Tour is phenomenal. It is my go-to string when I play league matches. I would keep it strung for possibly the whole season without cutting it out. The Silver Tour has an initial break-in period where it needs to loosen up, but once it breaks in, the tension stabilizes and plays very consistently for many sessions. So it is difficult to crown a winner in this category, but I would say the Lynx Tour is the winner here because it doesn't really require a break-in and plays predictably for a long time. And last and probably most important category for me is feel. I like crisp and lively playing strings that have a lot of pop and have a satisfying sensation upon striking the ball. Both the Lynx Tour and Silver 7 Tour have a crisp feel, and this is the main reason I decided to test these strings against each other. I really like the dwell time from the Lynx Tour because I have slightly better touch on drop shots and angle volleys because I can feel the ball resting on the strings a little bit better and my arm gets good feedback to drop the ball on a dime. Contrastly, the Silver 7 Tour has slightly more direct feedback on full swings like my forehand and serves because it is slightly more stiff and sends more vibrations up my arm. Both strings give me confidence to stay on the gas and play my attacking and crafty style. So in this category, it is very difficult to choose one over the other because both strings give me amazing feedback, but if I had to choose just one, it would have to be the Lynx Tour because I'm more of a doubles and net player and the Lynx Tour gives me more feedback on my net game. Lastly, I want to briefly mention some miscellaneous factors. First, the price. Silver 7 Tour is a bit cheaper by about $3. That isn't a huge difference, but if you're buying in reels, this could make a difference. They both only come in 2 gauges, but the Lynx Tour comes in 4 colors compared to just 1 for the Silver 7 Tour. String color does make a difference, and I've tried all the colors of Lynx Tour except for the orange. If you want a slightly deader feel, use the black version. If you want even more crispness, use the champagne color. The Lynx Tour has more options that will appeal to a larger audience. So, in conclusion, I'm sure you've guessed it by now, but the winner in this head-to-head battle is the Head Lynx Tour. This is still my favorite poly, and if we look at all the categories, the only area where Silver 7 Tour had an edge is spin potential. But I still really like the Silver 7 Tour, and most of the categories came in very close. So for my league matches, I think I'll be sticking to Lynx Tour for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this versus review, and let me know in the comments what other string comparisons you'd like to see in future videos in this series.
I was trying to laugh.
Thank you for watching this versus string comparison of the head Lynx Tour and the Tourna Big Hitter Silver 7 Tour right here on Open Court. If you guys like this content, be sure to overhead smash that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in an Open Court.